You our World War I recital, as we're just a couple of weeks after Armistice Day. All the music you're going to hear today is from the period of the First World War, some of them very popular tunes. And the poems were mostly written at the time by poets who served in the war, some of whom died on active service. They came to be known as the Great War Poets. And because of everything happening around the world at the moment, I'm sure you'll agree the poems have even greater resonance today. So, ladies and gentlemen, music and poetry of World War I, keep the home fires burning. Who's for the game the biggest that's played, the red crashing game of a fight? Who'll grip and tackle the job unafraid? And who thinks he'd rather sit tight? Who'll toe the line for the signal to go? Who'll give his country a hand? Who wants a turn to himself in the show? And who wants a seat in the stand? Who knows it won't be a picnic? Not much, yet eagerly shoulders a gun. Who would much rather come back with a crutch than lie low and be out of the fun? So come along, lads. Yes, you'll come on all right. For there's only one course to pursue. Your country is up to her neck in a fight, and she's looking and calling for you. Now that we've done our best and worst and parted, I would fill my mind with thoughts that will not rend. Oh, heart, I do not dare go empty-hearted. I'll think of love in books, love without end. Women with child, content, and old men sleeping, and wet, strong ploughlands scarred for certain grain, and babes that weep, and so forget their weeping, and the young heavens forgetful after rain, and evening hush broken by homing wings, and song's nobility and wisdom holy, that live, we dead, I would think of 1,000 things lovely and durable, and taste them slowly, one after one, like tasting a sweet food. I have need to busy my heart with quietude. Never of us be said that we reluctant stood as sullen children and refused to dance to the keen pipe that sounds across the fields of France. Though shrill the note and wild, though hard the steps and slow, the dancing floor defiled, the measure full of woe, and dread the solemn figure that the dancers tread. We faltered not. Of us this word shall not be said, never of us be said, we had no war to wage, because our womanhood, because the weight of age held us in servitude. None sees us fight, yet we in the long night battle to give release to all whom we must send to seek and die for peace. When they have gone, we in a twilit place meet terror face to face and strive with him that we may save our fortitude alive. Theirs be the hard, but ours the lonely bed. Naught were we spared, of us this word shall not be said, never of us be said, we failed to give God speed to our adventurous dead. Is my team ploughing that I was used to drive and hear the harness jingle when I was man alive? Aye, the horses trample, the harness jingles now, no change though you lie under the land you used to plough. Is football playing along the river shore with lads to chase the leather, now I stand up no more? Aye, the ball is flying, the lads play heart and soul, the goal stands up and the keeper stands up to keep the goal. Is my girl happy that I thought hard to leave, and has she tired of weeping as she lies down at eve? Aye, she lies down lightly, she lies not down to weep. Your girl is well contented, Be still, my lad, and sleep. Is my friend hearty, now I am thin and pine? And has he found to sleep in a better bed than mine? Yes, lad, I lie easy. I lie as lads would choose. I'd cheer a dead man's sweetheart, never ask me whose. Adieu, que la guerre est jolie avec ses chants, ses longs loisirs. Cette bague, je l'ai polie, le vent se mêle à vos soupirs. Adieu, voici le bout de sel, il disparut dans un tournant et mourut la basse tandis qu'elle riait au destin surprenant. Oh God, isn't war a lovely thing with its songs, its killing time? I've been polishing this ring. Your sighs mingle with the wind. Farewell, here it is, the bugle call. Turning, he disappears. Dust rises. Then afar, a dying fall, while she remains and laughs at life's surprises. Soldiers are citizens of death's grey land. drawing no dividend from time's tomorrows. In the great hour of destiny they stand, each with his feuds and jealousies and sorrows. Soldiers are sworn to action. They must win some flaming, fatal climax with their lives. Soldiers are dreamers. When the guns begin, they think of firelit homes, clean beds, and wives. I see them in foul dugouts, gnawed by rats, and in the ruined trenches lashed with rain, dreaming of things they did with balls and bats, and mocked by hopeless longing to regain bank holidays and picture shows and spats and going to the office in the rain. Christmas Eve in 1914, stars were gleaming bright, and all along the Western Front, guns were lying still and quiet. Men lay dozing in the trenches, in the cold and in the dark. As far away behind the lines, a village dog began to bark. Some lay thinking of their families. Some sang songs to others quiet, playing brag and rolling fags to pass away the Christmas night. As we watched the German trenches, something moved in no man's land. Through the dark there came a soldier, carrying a white flag in his hand. Then from both sides men came running, crossing into no man's land. Through the dark there came a soldier, carrying a white flag in his hand. Then from both sides men came running, crossing into no man's land. Through the barbed wire mud and shell holes, shyly stood there, shaking hands. Fritz, he brought cigars and brandy. Tommy brought corned beef and fags. And as they stood there, quietly talking, the moon shone down on no man's land. Then Christmas Day, we all played football in the mud of no man's land. Tommy brought some Christmas pudding. Fritz brought out a German band. And when they beat us at the football, we shared all our grub and drink. Then Fritz showed me a tattered photo of a brown-haired girl back in Berlin. For 4 days after, no side fired. Not one shot disturbed the night. For old Fritz and Tommy Atkins, they'd both lost their will to fight. So they withdrew us from the trenches, sent us back behind the lines, brought fresh troops to take our places, and told the guns, prepare to fire. The next night, in 1914, flak was beaming bright. The orders came, prepare offensive, over the top we go tonight. And men stood waiting in the trenches, gazed out across our football park, as all along the Western Front, the Christmas guns began to bark. Watching the dark, my spirit rose in flood on that most dearest prelude of my delight. The low-lying mist lifted its hood, the October stars showed nobly in clear night. When I return and to real music making and play that prelude, how will it happen then? Shall I feel as I felt a century hardly waking, with a dull sense of no man's land again? In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place. And in the sky the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved. And now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields. What passing bells for these who die as cattle? Only the monstrous anger of the guns, only the stuttering rifles' rapid rattle can patter out their hasty orisons. No mockeries now for them, no prayers nor bells, nor any voice of mourning, save the choirs, the shrill, demented choirs of wailing shells, and bugles calling them from sad shires. What candles may be held to speed them all? Not in the hands of boys, but in their eyes shall shine the holy glimmers of goodbyes. The pallor of girls' brows shall be their pall, their flowers the tenderness of patient minds, and each slow dusk a drawing down of blinds. I watch the white dawn gleam to the thunder of hidden guns. I hear the hot shells scream through skies as sweet as a dream, where the silver dawnbreak runs and stabbing of light scorches the virginal white. But I feel in my being the old, high, sanctified thrill, and I thank the gods that dawn is beautiful still. From death that hurtles by, I crouch in the trench day long, but up to a cloudless sky from the ground where our dead men lie, a brown lark soars in song through the tortured air, rent by the shrapnel's flare. Over the troubleless dead, he carols its fill. And I thank the gods that the birds are beautiful still. Where the parapet is low and level with the eye, poppies and cornflowers glow, and the corn sways to and fro in a pattern against the sky. The gold stalks hide bodies of men who died, charging at dawn through the dew to be killed or to kill. And I thank the gods that the flowers are beautiful still. When night falls dark, we creep in silence to our dead. We dig a few feet deep and leave them there to sleep. But blood at night is red, yea, even at night, and a dead man's face is white. And I dry my hands that are also trained to kill. And I look at the stars, for the stars are beautiful still. The garden called Gethsemane, in Picardy it was, and there the people came to see the English soldiers pass. We used to pass, or halt, as it might be, and ship our mass in case of gas beyond Gethsemane. The garden called Gethsemane, it held a pretty lass, but all the time she talked to me, I prayed my cup might pass. The officer sat on the chair, the men lay on the grass, and all the time we halted there, I prayed my cup might pass. It didn't pass. It didn't pass. It didn't pass from me. I drank it when we met the gas beyond Gethsemane. When there ain't no gal to kiss you and the postman seems to miss you and the fags have skipped an issue, carry on. When you've got an empty belly and the bully's rotten smelly and you're shivering like a jelly, carry on. When the bosh has done your chumming and the sergeant's done the rumming and there ain't no rations coming, carry on. When the world is red and reeking and the shrapnel shells are shrieking and your blood is slowly leaking, carry on. When the broken, battered trenches are like the bloody butcher's benches and the air is thick with stenches, carry on. Though your pals are pale and wan and the hope of life is gone and you're feeling put upon, carry on. For to do more than you can is to be a British man, not a rotten also ran. Carry on. The darkness crumbles away. It is the same old druid time as ever. Only a live thing leaps my hand, a queer, sardonic rat, as I pull the parapet's poppy to stick behind my ear. Droll rat, they would shoot you if they knew your cosmopolitan sympathies. Now you have touched this English hand. You will do the same to a German soon, no doubt, if it be your pleasure to cross the sleeping green between. It seems you inwardly grin as you pass. Fine limbs, strong eyes, haughty athletes, less chanced than you for life, bonds to the whims of murder, sprawled in the bowels of the earth, the torn fields of France. What do you see in our eyes? At the shrieking iron and flame hurled through still heavens, what quaver, what heart aghast? Poppies whose roots are in man's veins drop and are ever dropping. But mine in my ear is safe, just a little white with the dust. The other day I chanced to meet a soldier friend of mine. He'd been in camps for several weeks and he was looking fine. His muscles had developed and his cheeks were rosy red. I asked him how he liked the life, and this is what he said. "Oh, how I hate to get up in the morning. Oh, how I'd love to remain in bed. For the hardest blow of all is to hear the bugler call. You've got to get up, you've got to get up, you've got to get up this morning. Someday I'm going to murder that bugler. Someday they're going to find him dead. I'll amputate his reveille and step upon it heavily and spend the rest of my life in bed." Oh, a bugler in the army is the luckiest of men. He wakes the boys at 5, then goes back to bed again. He doesn't have to blow again until the afternoon. If everything goes well with me, I'll be a bugler soon. August 1916, examined at Shoreditch. Henry Shenman, hairdresser. Weight, 126 pounds. Height, 5'7". Chest, fully expanded, 36 inches. Range of expansion, 4 inches. Physical development, fair. Vaccinated infancy, lower denture cavity, flat-footed. Slight defects, but not enough to cause rejection. B1, age 20, my grandfather. October 1916, enlisted army rank, private. December 1916, called up for service. T307752, 20 years, 6 months. Issued with equipment at Grove Park, bottle oil, pull-through, sling rifle, bayonet sword, scabbard, frog, dungaree suit. Credit, 2 shillings in lieu of razor. Signed by soldier, my grandfather's hand. Photograph, J. Garvey Studio, 64 Lower Clapton Road, London. Cane and swagger. January 1917, trade on enlistment, driver. Transferred to packers and loaders at ordinary rate of pay. April 1917, embarked Southampton, SS Huntscraft. Disembarked Le Havre to ASC Base Depot, 63rd Division Supply Column, attached to the 13th Corps. July 1917, picked up by 93rd Field Ambulance. Admitted to hospital with sprained back, age 21. March 1918, 14 days leave. October 1918, 15 days special leave. November 1918, War Office communication. Returning the documents of this marginally named man. This man is an alien, a naturalized British subject of alien parentage, father of Russian origin. December 1918, granted first Good Conduct Badge. Place, the field, British Expeditionary Force, France. Age 22, my grandfather. Photograph, Délice, 15 Rue de l'Abattoir, Cuivrennes. 2 chevrons right sleeve, 1 chevron left sleeve. Creased leather. Eyes older. Tired? 627 days overseas. February 1919, home. Age 23. Told no stories. Sang songs. My grandfather. men that worked for England, they have their graves at home, and bees and birds of England about the cross can roam. But they that fought for England, following a falling star, alas, alas for England, they have their graves afar. And they that rule in England in stately conclave met, alas, alas for England, they have no graves as yet. War correspondent Philip Gibbs reported in his bulletin to the North Mail on the 12th of November the following. Our troops knew early this morning that the armistice had been signed. I stopped on my way to Mons outside a brigade HQ, and an officer said, "Hostilities will cease at 11 o'clock. Then he added, as all men add in their hearts, "Thank God for that." All the way to Mons there were columns of troops on the march, and their bands played ahead of them, and almost every man had a flag on his rifle. There were flowers in their caps and in their tunics, red and white chrysanthemums given by crowds of people who cheered them on their way. People who, in many of these villages, had only been one day liberated from the German yoke. Our men marched, singing, with a light in their eyes. They had done their job. There will be no flash of gunfire in the sky tonight. The fires of hell have been put out, and I have written my last message as war correspondent.
Can I just say on your behalf a very big thank you for a wonderful afternoon, very evocative and very moving. Thank you very much, Valerie and Dimitri and Chris. Thank you.